In the previous example, we just had an O-ring, but it is also a common practice to have a full gasket compressed between members of a bolted joint. The gasketed pressure P is found by dividing the force in the member by the gasket area per bolt. And this assumes that the pressure is uniform throughout the gasket. And because of that, you're going to see that we're going to have certain requirements for the distance between the bolts to ensure that the pressure on this gasket, when I have a full gasket, is uniform, because the equation here assumes uniform pressure. It simply takes the force in the members divided by the area of the gasket divided by the number of bolts. So the force in the member, including a load factor, would be 1 minus C times NP minus Fi. The gasket pressure, if I take this Fm, substitute it in this equation, and its pressure, so definitely its compression, is, I take here, we always say that the magnitude of Fi is going to be higher. So if I just change the order, I do Fi minus Np times 1 minus C. Fm here is usually negative. So because I said pressure, I find the negative of this quantity, or I change the sign. So I put Fi minus Np times 1 minus C. And this is divided by Ag over N, or I multiply by N divided by Ag, which is the area of the gasket. In order to use this equation, we want to make sure that we have uniform pressure on the gasket. How do I ensure that? By making sure that the adjacent bolts should be no more than 6 times the nominal diameter apart on the bolt circle. So the distance between these bolts, should be less than 6 times the bolt nominal diameter. For a wrench clearance, the bolts also should be at least 3D apart. So yes, I don't want this distance to be large, but I cannot have it less than 3D to allow me for wrench clearance. So this is going to give us a rule that pi dB divided by nd, where this dB is the bolt circle of a diameter dB. So the diameter here, uppercase D, is this diameter, and the lowercase d is the diameter, the nominal diameter of the bolt, nominal diameter of the bolt. So you can see this is like 3D and 6D, and we want to make sure that the distance, I take the perimeter, pi dB divided by n, must be greater than 3D and must be less than or equal to 6D, to ensure that the pressure on the gasket is uniformly applied.